Yo, what is going on, homies? It's your boy Stumped back for another OPTC video, and in today's video, we're hopping back into Escape Cacao Island, number 3, the 50 stamina event that is coming out for the final end of the 6-year anniversary. Now, this event is actually fairly annoying trying to get those Chopper Man missions done, and in today's video, I have 3 teams for you guys that is utilizing Chopper, Carrot, and Jinbe. Now, the downside to this is there's not a lot of other options for Carrot, where am I? For Carrot, Jinbe, or Chopper. Now, the Chopper that they give you and the Carrot they give you is very, very good, but Jinbe doesn't have too many other options that can actually get around the particular piece of content. Well, this particular piece of content, except for this Jinbe here. This Jinbe is very, very good, and unfortunately, on all 3 of my teams, he does appear. So, if you guys have any other team options, let me know in the comment section below. I'd love to hear if anyone else had any other team comps to get around this for this particular Chopper Man mission. And while you're down there, consider smashing that like button for me, and if you're new, subscribe. Why not? Just a little click. Just hit a click. Why aren't you favorited? So, in the first team for today, I do have a V2 Snakeman team for you guys. So, V2 Snakeman is very, very good, as you can't use an attack booster on the final stage. So, his super typing works great. We have a Chopper on the team, obviously, so we can activate that easily. He's very, very good as our leader. Next, we have the free-to-play Chopper. He's excellent against Perisparrow. He's basically built for that stage, and he just functions amazingly for that fight. Next, we have Law. Law's amazing as he is our Chain Locker as well as our Block Orb Manipulator. He can also use the Corazon support as well, which is very, very handy. Also, we have Rayleigh on our Luffy, another very, very good support there as well. Next, we've got the free-to-play Carrot. She's amazing against Daifuku. She's basically built for that stage. Unfortunately, getting around those 2 stages without these units is actually fairly tricky, as there aren't very many other replacements. Finally, we have this rare recruit Jinbe that's been out since 2016. He's really good because he can remove Chain Lock and Chain Growth by 3 turns, and it's very annoying on the final stages. The Chain Lock's basically 1.1, and the Chain Boost is even worse. So he's pretty much required, to be honest. But, I mean, you could probably replace him on this team with the Jinbe from the Clash Jinbe, and then you could replace Law with Shanks Crew, and then use Brûlé support to get around the Block Orbs. But I figured most people have this Jinbe more than Brûlé support, so here we are. The next team I have for you guys is this particular team right here. This particular team was very, very finicky to build, to be honest, but it is another option for you guys to get around it. If you have the units for this Snakeman team, though, I'd highly recommend using that over the Shanks Crew team. But this team did manage to get it done, but there are some notable supports. We do have Shanks Crew as our leader. Obviously, he's a Chain Locker, which is great, as the last 2 units have a lot of HP. We have Markano support. It's not essential, but it just makes life a lot easier. Next, we have the Carrot and the Chopper once again. And on our Carrot and Chopper this time, we are using the Neko support and the new Pedro support. They both remove Bind and Despair, which is great. Then we've got the Jinbe once again to remove the Chain Lock and the Chain Coefficient. And then finally, we've got Mihawk and Perona. Mihawk and Perona are amazing because they give that negative debuff. They also do a conditional boost, and they are our Block Orb Manipulator for this particular team. Plus, we are using the Flampe, the free-to-play Flampe on them to give our Psy units an Orb buff on the final stage as well. The final team is actually a mono Psy team utilizing Jinbe, Carrot, and Chopper. The big difference between this team and the other teams is obviously we are using Luffy Sanji as our captain with the Rayleigh support once again. Very, very handy. We do have Carrot and the Pedro combo once again to remove Despair, as well as to help us on the Daifuku stage. We have Germa. Germa, unfortunately, aren't replaceable on this team, so if you don't have Germa, just don't even worry about this team. You could replace him with another Orb booster, but then you struggle for an attack booster. The fact that you can't use an attack boost on the final stage is just so frustrating. We have Jinbe once again to remove the Chain Growth. And finally, we've got Legend Chopper on this team. Legend Chopper is just here because he's a Psy Chopper. If any other Psy Chopper will pretty much work. It just sort of satisfies the mono Psy requirement, as well as having the 3 units. So they're the 3 teams. Enough about that. Before I go, actually, we are using a friend Luffy Sanji with all these teams, as well as the anniversary ship. Very, very important. Luffy Sanji just basically required. You need a friend captain Luffy Sanji, otherwise you're gonna have a real bad time. But like I said, that's enough about teams. Let's hop into the runs. Alright, homies, so here we are over on Escape from Cacao Island, and the first team I have for you guys is the V2 Snakeman team. Now, this is probably the only team where you could actually replace the Jinbe, but that way, if you do, you're going to need, Brûlé support for your Snakeman, and then you could probably replace Law with, Shanks Crew and do some, shenanigans that way if you are missing that Jinbe. But I figured most people have this Jinbe compared to people having Brûlé. So the first team is the V2 Snakeman team. The V2 Snakeman team actually worked probably the best out of the 3 teams you're about to see in this particular video. Mainly because the attack, using an attack buff on the final stage, the interrupt, is so damn annoying. And there's really not that many other options for Chopper, Jinbe, and Carrot than the ones that they actually give you and this old school Sai rare recruit, Jinbe. So on stage 2, we are going to use the switchability of Luffy, Sanji, and then use their special to guarantee us a bunch of meat orbs. Now, using that special there is like very, very handy. That way you can just completely remove the hunger debuff, as it's around 6 turns, which will go down to 5 if you have a friend, Luffy, Sanji, that is limit broken. But I just found that this one, like this sort of variant, was just so much harder than the actual the previous one with Sanji, Pudding, and Beach, mainly because like you don't have to bring a Sanji, you just bring the friend Luffy, Sanji, and your gravy. Where with this, you have to bring that Luffy friend Sanji just to make life so much easier for you. And then just sort of filling out the rest of the team just was a little bit tricky because you just don't have that many extra slots. So V2 Snakeman is very, very good for this. We have V3 Law on this particular team as well. He's very, very good as a chain locker for the final stage. As I mentioned, you could replace him with like, what's his name? Shanks Crew. That should work fine. Any other chain locker should be very, very good. Law just can use Corazon as the support, so that works exceptional. For the notable supports for this team, we are using Corazon and V1 Rayleigh. They're really the only 2 notable supports for you guys. I think you can use Pedro on Chopper, the new free-to-play Pedro that came out in the previous event. That could work very, very well as well. So on the stage 4 I think we're on now, we come up against the chess pieces. They all have 10 HP and massive defense. So if you work out how many hit counters your characters have, the Luffy's have 6, which is very, very handy. Law has 5, and so does Carrot. So you can sort of like quick maths your way through this and just like don't even hit perfects. Just let the hit counters like roll down and then just like defeat the chess pieces that way. And then you can move on to the next stage against Perospero. As I mentioned, like the Chopper and the Carrot that they give you, the free-to-play ones, are just very, very good for this particular piece of content. And the fact that they give them to you is great, but there's just no other solid Jinbe that can kind of remove effects. Like you could probably bring V1 Jinbe, the legend, to remove damage reduction on this stage here against Perospero, and then replace Chopper. But like, there's just no other very good choppers, to be honest, either. Like Legend Chopper's great, but like for this particular piece of content, I just really struggled to find different like subs for both Carrot, Chopper, and Jinbe. If you guys did, let me know in the comment section below. I'd love to hear other teams that managed to get this done, because honestly, like this whole escape from Cacao Island was actually a bit of a struggle. But as you saw here, we used the Chopper special on the Perospero stage. That way we can actually remove the damage reduction. We get a little bit of an attack boost as well, which is great, as well as some matching orbs. Now with Perospero, I do want to get him, like my Luffy Sanji, down to a 2-turn cooldown. Fairly important there, so we can actually when we move into the next stage, we can actually have their special. You can use the Neko support on Chopper as well if you want to. That way you can just remove the bind. But with the amount of damage that we do on the first turn, you can get Perospero very, very low and then finish him off very easily on the second turn. When Perospero dies, he gives your captain 8 turns of bind, which goes down to 4 with preemptive and sockets. And then you can move on to the next stage against Daifuku. Daifuku gives you full board unfavorable orbs. He has 5 turns of threshold, which goes down to 4 with preemptive, 30 turns of end of turn damage, and 30 turns of normal attacks only, which is very, very annoying to get around. So what we're going to do here is we're going to use our Luffy Sanji switch ability and then their special. That way we can get a full board of recovery orbs. Then we can use the Carrot special to remove the rest of the bind, give us an orb boost, and just blast our way through Daifuku there. Now I did have the support of Vivi, the limited recruit Vivi, but as you guys see with the amount of damage we're doing, it is not necessary one bit to actually have that support. I just chucked it on as I was doing this content because this content pissed me off, to be honest, and I wanted to just blast my way through it if I could. So on the final stage, we come up against Smoothie and Oven. They give us a full board of block orbs, and they give us 3 specials only. They are also going to give us 3 turns of chain coefficient reduction and chain lock, and this is where this Jinbe is just absolutely amazing, because he'll give us a little bit of chain buff and remove those 2 debuffs for us as well. Then we can use our Luffy special to get 2.5 times attack boost. We can use his super typing because we have a Chopper on the team, which means we can activate that to get a 2 times attack boost for our entire crew. That will not trigger the Oven preemptive. If you use an attack boost on this final stage, Oven is going to swap your captains and then give you that orb block mechanic, which is very annoying. But as you guys will see there, we're going to use Law for the final special. That way we can get a chain lock and remove those block orbs. And with that, we just have plenty of damage here. well, enough damage, I should say, to take out Oven and Smoothie. This team works very, very well. If you, like I said, if you do have Brule, you can use the Brule on Luffy to get the block orb manipulation, or you can even put it on Carrot. That would work too. And then you could replace Jinbe if you're missing here. But hopefully you guys have saved that Jinbe. He has a very good support, and I feel like most people actually have kept him. So let's move on to the second team now. On to the second team now. This team was pretty funky, but it actually managed to do it like fairly decently. So it is a Shanks Crew hybrid with Luffy Sanji team, utilizing the exact same subs that you saw in the first team, except we aren't using Law this time. We are using Mihawk Perona. On our Mihawk Perona, we do have the Flampe support. Fairly important, that one, just to get an orb boost on the final stage for our Psy units. That way we can just like kill Smoothie as quick as possible and put as much damage into Oven. So on the first turn, we just want to just clear these guys as quickly as possible. I like to use the switchability of Shanks here. That way we can just get a little bit of an attack buff and just fly through their HP. I do have Markano support on my Shanks. Now, that isn't essential either, but it just makes life a lot easier on this particular stage, as we can actually see what we're doing. Once again, we're going to use the special of Luffy and Sanji. They can give us a full board of recovery orb, so that way we can just get rid of that annoying hunger debuff. The hunger debuff is one of the more interesting debuffs. Like, it is probably one of the most annoying debuffs to get around, but I actually really like it. It actually just brings a whole new dimension to meat orbs, which is great. On the next turn, we come up against one of the daughters and Baba Ross, as well as 2 cannoneers. This is where we're just going to use the switchability of our Shanks Crew. That way we can get an attack buff. We can also use the switchability of our Mihawk Perona to give them the negative effect. And because we still have that 5 times captain from our Luffy and Sanji, as you'll see, we just want to kill that unit in the front, and she just melts, absolutely melts with this particular team. If you don't kill her on the first turn, she's going to give you 4 turns of special bind. Now, that doesn't matter for Shanks Crew, but for other teams, it may be a bit of a hindrance. So you do want to make sure that you take her out on that first turn. If you don't kill Barbaros on the second turn as well, when he attacks, he's just going to rotate your orbs. I think he does a HP cut as well. Nothing too drastic, but with this particular team, we just have so much damage, we can blow him away on the second turn. On the next phase, we come up against those chess pieces. They have that huge defense up, but they all only have 10 HP. Now, if you guys just check what hit counters your units have, you shouldn't have an issue here. Just do some quick maths. Shanks has 5, Carrot has 5, Mihawk Perona, if your Perona, has 6, Luffy also has 6, and then Chopper and Jinbe both have 4. So if you do like a Luffy, Chopper, Perona, Jinbe, and then Shanks and Carrot combination, you will be able to kill like 3 of them, which is very, very handy, as normally 3 of them have a 1-turn cooldown. That way you can just move on to the next stage, get out of there as quickly as possible to save you guys losing turns, as one of the big annoying things with this particular fight is that 11 turn, or that 16 turns at the beginning of the fight to clear the event. If you don't clear it in 16 turns, you just lose. On the next stage, we come up against Perispero. We get gloomed for 5 turns, which goes down to 2, and that's where the support of Pedro, the free-to-play one, is very, very good, because we can actually remove that. Downside here is we are actually stuck with some paralysis, but with the switchability of Luffy, Sanji, and the special of Chopper, we can actually remove the paralysis as well. So with that little combo, we can get around that very, very nicely, and then we can just put as much damage as we possibly can into Perispero. Perispero actually has a lot of HP. Don't be deceived by the fact that he's missing like 3/4 of his HP when you come into this fight, as you can get around it very easily. Now, we do have the Neko support on our Chopper here. That can remove the bind on the second turn that Perispero gives. Every single turn, he will give 2 turns of bind to your middle row. Literally every single 2 turns. And then I think after 3 turns, he gives Despair for 2 turns on your captains, obviously, because it's a Despair. But we can just take our time here, getting our Luffy Sanji special back before we move on to the next stage against Daifuku. The switchability of Luffy Sanji helps us out a lot here, as we can just get a lot of healing, as well as reduce the bind as well. We can switch with our Mihawk Perona as well for further healing and less damage if we need to. Just so we can just keep our HP nice and high. And if you do stay as the crew variation of Shanks, you will have a little bit of damage reduction as well. Before you move on to the next stage, though, you do want to make sure that you switch crew into Shanks, so that way you have a Psy Captain, and when you use Carrot Special, you can actually get the Orb buff as well. Fairly important that you do that, as Daifuku on the next stage actually has a lot of HP. So now that the 3 turns have passed, we do get gloomed, so we are going to stall that down to 1 turn, as we can remove that with the switchability of Luffy and Sanji on the second turn. And because we got here fairly quickly, we have plenty of turns to spare. You really just want to get to that Daifuku stage when you have Luffy Sanji special. Now, you could probably stall on the earlier stages, but I always found that I always struggled when I got to Perispero with actually how much HP he has, because it's so deceptive in the sense of, well, he has like 1/4 of his HP, but that is still like a very, very large chunk. So Perispero is underrated, man. Like he's a thick boy. On the next stage, we come up against Daifuku. He's going to randomly, or not randomly, he's going to turn all of our orbs into unfavorable. He does 5 turns of threshold. Then he has end of turn damage for 30 turns, as well as 30 turns of normal attacks only. So we're going to switch with Luffy and Sanji to remove one of the turns of bind, and then we can use our girl Carrot, making sure that we were Shanks when we moved into this stage, to remove the rest of the bind, and as well as Luffy Sanji special to get that 5 times captain ability, as well as the 2.5 times attack boost. That way we can just absolutely destroy our boy Daifuku. Now, what I like to do here is I like to switch into Crew. That way we can switch back into Shanks and have an extra Psy unit on the next stage. And I switch into Perona away from Mihawk. So that way not only do I get the negative effect, but that way I can actually also switch into Mihawk on the next stage to make sure that I have an extra strength unit. Now, this team is very Psy-orientated. Can be very Psy-orientated, I should say. And it is nice to have an extra strength unit to hit Oven. But we do have an orb boost purely for our Psy unit, so I don't think it matters too much. So moving into this stage against Smoothie and Oven, we're going to use the Jinbe special to remove the chain lock and the chain coefficient. We can switch with Mihawk, Perona, and Shanks to get the attack buff and the negative effect. And then with Shanks' special for a chain lock, Mihawk, Perona's special for the conditional boost, as well as the support of Flampe. We have an attack boost, a small attack and small orb boost. We have a 2 times conditional boost, a 3.5 times chain lock, and a 4.5 and a 5 times captain. And as you'll see, I don't know if we just, but we do have the damage here to take them out. So if you guys are struggling with some of those other units on the Snakeman team, this team will work fairly fine for you guys as well. But I would highly recommend using that Snakeman team. It just functions a hell of a lot better, because Snakeman's just a goat in terms of having an orb and an attack boost in his own captain ability. So for the final team, this is actually a double Luffy Sanji team, and the whole team is mono Psy. So you can actually get 2 Chopper Man missions done with this particular team. And this team will probably pop up again in my mono Psy video, but I just wanted to separate all of the Chopper Man missions, as I didn't want the video to go for 50 minutes for you guys trying to sift your way through to find a team that works for you guys. This way it's just a lot easier. If you are struggling with one of the Chopper Man missions, you can just fly to this video. But I will leave links in the descriptions for all the rest of them, making it easy for you guys to sort of navigate around the channel. But if you are navigating around, make sure to slap a like on all of them, and if you're new, consider subscribing as well. So on stage 2, we're going to switch with our Luffy Sanji to get the matching orbs for recovery. Use one of their specials to get a full board of recovery orbs, and that way we can remove the hunger debuff that we get applied on stage 2. The hunger debuff being, 6 turns is ridiculously annoying, but with this particular team, it's very, very easy to get around, as we are running 2 Luffy Sanjis. Now, if you want to, you could probably stall an extra turn here and just switch with Luffy Sanji, but I just find you have enough turns before the event ends to actually get Luffy Sanji's special back, especially if you bring a friend that's limit break keyed or your own. So on the next stage, I actually did goofed, as you guys saw there, and I actually didn't kill all of them in one turn. I stuffed up my tap timing. Sound effects or special effects debuff is so freaking annoying, but as you'll see, we can still kill the chick in the front. She's the main one. If you kill her, you won't get the special bind, and if you don't, on turn 2 she'll special bind you for 4 turns. Barbaros isn't a big deal, if you don't kill him, but I think we kill him anyway. Yeah, I think we do. But if you don't kill him, he's just gonna rotate your orbs. He can give you bomb and super bomb orbs, but it's not that big of a deal. On the next stage, we come up against the chess pieces. Now, they all have 10 HP, as I've rambled on about, as well as having massive defense. So work out what hit counters you guys have, and then just don't even worry about hitting perfects. Just let the characters just finish their attack patterns, and you should be able to kill 2 of them with this team, because the 2 Luffys have 6 turn counters. Carrot has 5, Chopper has 4, Jinbe has 4, and I think Germa has 4 as well. So that will make sure that you can kill at least 2 of them on turn 1, and then you can just kill the rest of them on turn 2. You can't get past this in less than 2 turns anyway. It's literally just there to slow you down because of that annoying 16 turn counter that they give you in the first turn. So on stage 5 now, we come up against Perispero. Perispero is a thick ass boy. He has so much HP. Even though he only has a quarter of what he looks like he has so much HP. But the downside to this particular team is we actually don't have a way to get around the damage reduction. The more optimal team for this particular team is to bring the free-to-play Chopper, the one that you guys saw in that previous team, as he can actually remove, and the team before that actually, he can actually remove the damage reduction as well as the paralysis, which is very, very handy. But there are some supports to get around the paralysis, but unfortunately we can't get around the damage reduction. So We actually have to take our time here on Perospero, but because we have two Luffys and Sanjis, we can actually just keep switching with them to remove the bind that we get every single turn, as well as removing the despair that gets inflicted once the damage reduction goes away. So it's not that big of a deal with this particular team, because you can output quite a bit of damage, but for most other teams, they do normally struggle if you don't remove that damage reduction, as you will just take so much time on Perospero. So just be mindful of that if you are using a different team. But if you are using this team, you don't have to worry about it too much. As you guys can see here, we can just do a butt ton of damage to our boy Perospero once the damage reduction goes away. Once the damage reduction goes away too, I did use the chopper special as well. The chopper special you can use basically whenever you like. He's just here just to 100% just to keep you alive on this Perospero stage, as he's just going to give you end of turn healing. Once that damage reduction goes away, as you can see, we just do so much damage with this particular team that the amount of time we have to stake on Perospero isn't the worst thing in the world. We have to stall back for Luffy Sanji special anyway, so it's not that bad that we are stuck on this particular stage for a little while. So as you see, like, I decided to use the chopper special there because I was quite low on HP. And the whole idea of Luffy and Sanji is, like, you just do more damage the higher your HP. So I did want to try and get that up nice and high. And the thing with Chopper is when they do preemptives or end of turn stuff, he actually, like, heals you twice. So as you'll see here, we'll get that heal, that nice 15k heal. And then once Perospero is done binding our captain for 8 turns, we're actually going to get another, like, 13k heal. And that way we can just get over the HP threshold to maximize our captain abilities. On the next turn, we come up against Daifuku. Daifuku puts up 5 turns of threshold. He does end of turn damage for 30 turns, normal attacks only for 30 turns, and he has an attack up too, which is a bit annoying. So what we want to do here is we switch with our Luffy Sanji, then we can use the Luffy Sanji, one of our Luffy Sanji specials after we've switched to get the matching orbs, and then we can use our Carrot special to also remove the bind and give us an orb buff. And literally just with those two specials, we can just blast through Daifuku. Daifuku has a lot of HP, so you do need to pop a couple of specials to take him out. Otherwise, you're going to have a bad time. On the final stage against the boss, Smoothie and Oven, they are going to give you block orbs. You can only use 3 specials, and you can't use attack boosts on this stage. Otherwise, they will change your captain. But if you did summon like I did for Germa is just built for this stage, as you can actually switch them into your captain first before you do an attack buff. And because you have already switched your captain, Oven can't switch your captain. So first of all, we're going to use Jinbe to remove the chain lock and the chain coefficient. Then we can use the Germa special to become captain, get an orb buff. Then we can use their super typing once they're captain as well. And then finish it off with our Luffy Sanji special. The interrupt's still going to happen with Oven, but it's just not going to change our captain as we already have that particular buff. And with that, we can just blast through their HP. Remember that Germa is super effective against all types as captain because you switched in-game. So they are just going to do an absolute butt ton to our boy Oven and just say, catch you later. So there you guys go. There were my 3 teams to take down the Chopper Man missions for Chopper, Carrot, and Jinbe. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. If you did, go down there and belt that like button. If you're new, consider subscribing today. But guys, most importantly, enjoy the rest of your day. I thank you guys for watching as always, and I will catch you all in the next one. Lates!